Welcome,
Hello.
everybody. Hi. Hoi hoi.
Hi. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. How's it going?
Oh, it's great.
Have you been to the wet room?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's
Did
fantastic.
you discover the flip-flops they got in
The
there?
flip and flops and
Did you
the
try
flip
them on?
flop. No.
Man, they've got excellent flip-flops in the wet room.
I
I'll show
I
you.
just looked at them.
You just looked at them and you thought to yourself, my, what do I have here? Well, I'm done looking at that. I'm going to go to the wet room and do it in the room where it's wet.
Yes. Rack Attack, it's Waddles. Yes. Even though Ryan says it's not.
Yeah, that's not Waddles, guys.
Sooner or later.
You talking about the owl?
Yeah.
The owl?
Waddles
Yeah,
the owl.
That's not no. It's
It's
not
totally
not a
his name is
penguin.
Waddles. His name is
No.
Waddles.
Waddles is the name that you give a penguin.
Waddles is the
Because
name you gave the owl.
owls don't waddle. Penguins waddle.
Yeah.
Joe's got great hair today.
Great gray hair.
Gray hair today.
Yes, I do. I'm showing my age. I'm just very old.
Man, your hair resembles the texture of a beanie.
Yes.
It's very nice though.
It's keeping my head warm today.
You're very fit for your head.
Very good.
Owl, the owl. So yeah, hey, welcome to Don't Fret Friday. This is the show where we talk about everybody's concerns throughout the weekend or throughout their life. And we hope to basically assist you through those things. A lot of times it's better to kind of get another outside perspective, an outside view on some of the things you're going through, because it's hard to see how to solve the issue when you're in them yourself. Again, we are not professionals. We aren't psychiatrists or anything along those lines. So we're not a substitute for that kind of thing, but we hope to be a friend that can help you walk through life and just support you guys as you are sitting here supporting us. So thank you guys for being here today. Now we have a couple of we've got a backlog of a couple of different concerns that people have had over the last week or so.
We do. We've got a few things that didn't get addressed on the last stream.
Right. We've got one from Anna. We've got one from Maria Senpai. And then we've got one from one from Achilles. If any of those people are on, please say, hey. And I also have one from Anonymous that I think, let me check. I might have a couple of different anonymous ones. Bear with me.
Wait, so Akil is here right now, but I think he's leaving.
Oh, why are you gonna do that? I mean, you could just stick around.
Hey, sometimes when we start these so late, people gotta go.
Don't do it. Okay,
sometimes
you can do it.
They gotta, man.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I understand.
No.
I get it.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's our fault.
We'll talk about some stuff, and we'll and there's some folks here. So hi everyone. You all look so beautiful in the chat tonight.
Yeah, especially when you smile.
Yes,
that's the best.
Your smiles are gorgeous. Gorgeous.
I am. Oh my gosh, you guys! Thanks, Rack Attack, for the message. I don't know what that was about. Something about someone who wanted food. I don't know. I didn't read through the whole thing. Someone messaged me recently with a concern, but I'm having trouble finding it. It was anonymous. It was okay. Oh well. I think that they just didn't end up posting another one.
Oh yes, is Jack here?
Jack, yeah. Okay, I do have one from a different anonymous. So, all right. I'll have to figure out how to post this one. And I'll work on posting this.
Or is Anna here? We have one from Anna.
Yeah, we have Anna. And if anyone on stream, obviously at any time, we have Akil, right? Akil's here.
Akil was here. But I think he might have left. And Haley, no, we do not mind that you'll be playing the piano. I only wish we could hear it.
Yeah, for sure. That would be nice.
Now I'm going to be all distracted wondering what it sounds like.
Sounds like dong. It's that tone only. She only plays one tone. It's a one-tone piano.
Okay, that's one-tone piano.
Just kidding.
88 keys of the same.
88 keys, all of the same tone. Yeah, they've pitched every single string. Every string is different thickness, but they pitched every single one of them to the same tone.
I would be very good at playing that piano.
Yeah, actually, that would probably sound pretty awesome.
It would. It's like the same.
Same note. Well, yeah, it is definitely the same note.
Yeah,
but it'd sound incredible. You'd have no problem. You'd never mess up. Never make a mistake. If he plays middle C, perfect. Just do that. You'll be a pro in no time.
Yes.
You'll be like, oh my gosh, how's she doing that? And you're like, oh, it's all about just middle C.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, Rack Attack. I thought you left.
No, wait, I'm gone. Smooth, Rack Attack, smooth.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, have you had any glorious revelations today?
Well, by the way, I think Akil is here. Because he mentioned Watt Owl as opposed to just Waddle.
Yeah, but anyway, the last thing he said was, "Yeah, me too," because Rack Attack said he had to leave.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and he said, "See you, Raka, and everyone." So I think.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. Yep, he's probably gone. Okay. Any revelations today? Today I just kind of chilled. Well, not really. I was hanging out with the kids. My nephew and nieces. They are ages 7, 5, or 6, probably 6. And then
Nikolai's got to be.
Well, Nikolai is 7.
7.
Yeah, and then 6, and then a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. There is another one, but she is with her actual parents, my brother and sister-in-law. So anyways, today I didn't really do a whole lot of thinking. I just did a whole lot of taking care of the kids. I did some thinking in that. I was kind of like one of them peed their pants, and I was like, all right, how do I take care of that? And a lot of it is like things that happen that you have to sit there and be patient with, or not allow yourself to get frustrated, and you have to just take a step back and be like, all right, my desire is to just solve it quickly, but how do I do this in a more friendly manner, because that's important. And you take a step back and think about it, and then, or you're dealing with stuff that you don't normally deal with. At least for me, I don't normally deal with all this kind of stuff. So like, all right, that happened. Okay. Like, oh, she drew all over herself. She is only 2. That makes sense. Like, I figured this would happen, but yeah, her arms are completely covered in ink. So
glorious.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll scrub at her skin a little bit. I won't be too hard. I don't want to be mean, So we did that. That was fun.
Yeah.
And for some reason, she also wanted to draw on her lips, so it was on her face too.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. If any of you guys think that's weird, you've all probably done it before.
Yesterday.
Yeah, just the other day. You just don't remember it. Children are creative, yes.
Yes,
I think children force you to become creative. Because children, they're like, I'm bored, we have nothing to do. And you're like, all right, what do I do that'll make them happy? And so then you have to be creative.
Yeah, just give them a pen.
Yeah. Here's a pen. Go draw on the walls. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, that's
wouldn't that be fun? Hey, Jono.
I ended up forfeiting the company part due to stress. Okay. Also, we are going to be moving closer to town. We currently live in the country. Okay. Well, the country's nice, but being close to town is also nice. They both have their benefits. Sorry that you had to forfeit, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta do that. I get it. I totally understand. At my church, for some reason, our priest. Okay, so he's from Nigeria, but he speaks perfect English, and it's funny though. I feel like he's trying to use the fact that he's foreign to his advantage when he's like tells my mom like, oh, you'll play the piano for this part, and she's like, no, I can't, like it's way too stressful, I freak out, I don't have enough time to learn it, and no. And he's like, okay, cool, yeah, see you there, you'll play the piano. And then he walks away, and she's like, now I'm stuck playing the piano. And I'm like, Mom, no, you don't have to do that. That's what foreign people do. It's not okay. I know they do that. I've seen it happen. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a Chinese restaurant where they dish out your food for you, but I went to a Chinese restaurant and they were like, they were like, okay, what would you like? And I was like, oh, that looks good, I would like some of that. And then they're like, oh, have you had this? Oh, you want this? You haven't had it here, let me put that on your plate. And they walk down and they're like, oh, did you try that? No, you've never been here. Here, you got to try this too. And they like pile stuff on your plate and you're like, I didn't ask for any of that. And then it gets to the end of the line and they're like, all right, that'll be like $40. You're like, oh, what?
I didn't want any of that stuff.
I ordered one thing. but you're too kind. You're too kind to say anything. You're just like, all right. I'll figure out how to eat it all. I'll just take it home. Thanks for a couple of days, I guess.
Wow.
A Chinese, that happens, and I'm sure in any. It's just an interesting foreign thing that they do. I think they use their foreignness to their advantage. Or they just do that in their countries, and Americans are just a country that doesn't do that, so we're weird ones. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Most of the time when I go to a Chinese restaurant, it's a buffet.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah. And you're the one putting stuff on your plate. You're like, I don't remember putting this on my plate. I'll eat it.
Yeah. Or I have other people, like family members, sometimes put stuff on my plate for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, you want these mushrooms? Actually, I don't want them right now.
Have you tried this? Oh, no, you need to try it. Here you go. It's like, okay, sure. When I went to the Philippines, they made me eat so much food. I died.
You died?
I died. I literally died.
You literally died.
No,
I can tell you actually died.
Yeah, I'm a zombie right now, guys.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, when I was in the Philippines, they have a custom of like whenever you have a guest, you eat 5 meals a day, and every meal is an entire dinner. So you wake up in the morning and you get a whole fish, and then like it's like in between breakfast and lunch, and you get another entire dinner. And then lunch hits and you get another dinner. Then after lunch, about like, an hour and a half later, you get an entire dinner. And then at the end of the day, you get an entire dinner. And if that sounds like too much, they urge you to have a snack at least, which is an entire dinner. And I am not even kidding about any of that. If any of you are from the Philippines, you know what I'm talking about. And it was terrible. I mean, the food was good, but it was way, like, I couldn't even finish one of like the dinners. It was not a good experience. Anyways, have you had any insightful thoughts or revelations today, Joe? Anything on your mind?
Christ says they love me, but also miss Derek.
I totally understand. Could I? Yeah. Joe misses Derek too. Same. It would be awesome to have Derek back. And I've told him, like, hey, you can come back at any time. Like, this is his show. Really. I mean, he made this. But he's letting us continue it without him. He felt like he didn't want to do it anymore. I can totally understand that. He'd been doing it for like years, like 5 years or something crazy. So, he wanted to move on, and I support him in that. But yep, he's always welcome back. Always, and the thing is, like, he has a completely different, I won't say a completely different perspective. He's got a similar perspective, but he has a different way of saying things. And and a lot of times he does bring something completely different to the table that I wouldn't expect. And so, yeah, it was really a blessing to have him on when he was here. But yep. Yeah, I miss Derek. He's an awesome guy.
Yep. Maybe we'll convince him. One of these days, he'll be convinced.
Oh.
To make a cameo appearance at least.
Nice.
And show up.
Nice. Feels Derek, man.
Yeah. Well, I was going through my day today, and I actually learned something about focus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, okay. So I'm a property inspector, and so I had a whole ton of stops to do today, like a huge day.
Yeah.
And a lot of driving along with a lot of stops to make, and it was going to be hard to get it all done in the daytime. And so what I tried doing was, I was like, okay, if I can somehow relax and and focus, just dismiss every other thought, because I don't know about you guys, but I get distracted so easily. I don't know if I have like latent ADHD or something. I guess that's totally possible.
We all have it.
It's crazy. Like, I just get distracted, and then my mind will just run, and I'll start daydreaming, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh wait, and then I'll have totally missed something, or I'll miss my turn, or miss whatever. And so I really paid attention to what my thought processes were. But I think the key was, I learned this the other day when I was listening to a book, and they were talking about how you do so much better when you're relaxed. And I was like, oh, I should just try and relax and think going slowly. Just try and make my movements slowly, not make extra movements. Because I'm a fidgeter. Anybody else here a fidgeter?
100%.
Fidget.
I'm fidgeting right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got the knee shake, or you're playing with something or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder how much energy I spend fidgeting.
Sometimes I fidget to stay awake though too. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So I was like, I wonder if I can tone that down a little bit. And so I started to think about that and started to think about moving slowly. I started to envision like Neo in the Matrix, when he just held up his hand and all the bullets stopped, just I was like,
Nice.
and I'm like just sitting there going. And then you can move slowly, but you end up getting more done faster because you're relaxed and everything just goes so much more smoothly.
Jeff, that was pretty funny.
Huh?
I didn't see Jeff's comment till just now.
Advanced attention deficit. Yes. Yes. But anyway,
Yeah.
what ended up happening though, I had one of the most productive days in the least amount of time that I'd ever had because I was focused on being relaxed. And I was like,
Hmm.
wow, that's a big lesson for all of us, like anyone who's a fidgeter, anyone who has trouble focusing, all this kind of stuff. If you can make a conscientious effort, like a conscious effort to relax and take things a little bit slower,
Hmm.
you actually end up getting more done in less time because everything is more smooth.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I can relate that to a game I play every once in a while. I don't play
Mm-hmm.
it very often, but there's a game. It's called Brawlhalla, and the game is like it's like a fighting game. Uh, you know, you versus another person, and it's online, so you have to fight with other people. And sometimes I'll take a break from the game and I'll come back to it, and I'll be like, I'll I'll be like, oh yeah, this game is easy, right? And I just take it slow. I'm able to respond to other people's movements and win really, really well with against most opponents. Um, but as soon as I get too into the game, I start to see me lose over and over and over and over. And it's a lot to do with how relaxed I am. When I come in, I've got this very calm and sensible, like, oh, I'll just watch whatever they do, react to it, and that'll be easy. But as soon as I come to some sort of conflict in the game, like someone else is playing really well, um, I it forces me to have to get more excited and move faster and so on. And then that actually causes all of my preceding battles to be worse and worse
Mm-hmm.
because, again, I'm not relaxed. So I'm not as able to react as quickly. I'm not able to focus as quickly. And yeah, so it is, I think, an important lesson to be learned, though, even outside of games, obviously, and in real life experiences, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do, to have a relaxed sense of focus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when I was in the drum line and at Michigan State, and
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things like the snare drum line. I mean, this is one of the best collegiate drum lines in the United States,
Yeah,
and
it
like
is.
these guys, they would spend so much time, they would talk about how important it is to be relaxed because if you start to be tense, you end up playing slower. You can't
Yeah, because
play
your hands aren't
fast.
as fluid.
Exactly. The only way to play fast is to be more and more relaxed. And it was
It seems
amazingly,
backwards, but it's
it
true.
does, it does, because you think, oh, I got to try extra hard in order to do this. Yeah. But what happens is you get tense, you're not as fluid, all these kinds of different things that go into that. And it's the relaxation, the calming down that allows you to go faster. And Princess actually just asked, have you ever needed to go somewhere and in the rushing process it takes longer? And yes, I've had that happen so many times I can't even count. Like I'm in a hurry to get somewhere, and because I'm in a hurry, I'm missing things, and I got to go back, or I
Mhm.
drop something. All these kinds of different things. Where because I'm in a hurry, I have so much more wasted effort. You know, like
Yep.
efforts that just mean nothing because I
Hmm.
have to
Yeah.
redo it or it's done, not as well as it should be, or I forget something, or
Yeah.
Something of that nature. But
yep. Yeah, and that's really, why it's important not to worry or fret.
Yeah.
Whether it be Wednesday or Friday.
You don't have to worry on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays, or Saturdays either.
That's true. You can pick a day. You don't have to worry on that day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but yeah, that's true. I mean, we get worked up over the littlest things. I think that's why patience is such an important virtue to have, because patience will prevent so much of your desire to rush things and get frustrated, and etc. So patience is one of those things. But for me, I never really had to build patience too much. I was kind of lucky to have I have learned that at an early age or been born with it. But yeah, it's one of those that's extremely important. And learning how to calm yourself is important too. Learn how to talk to yourself at any moment and just cause yourself to relax. Tell yourself how to act and actually do it. I think that's also an extremely good virtue to have. Being able to calm yourself or talk to yourself and listen to yourself.
It is. What kinds of things can you do that calm you down?
I suppose there's a lot of different things you can do, but most of it for me is like different forms of meditation, reflection, etc., prayer, that sort of thing. It's all just talking to myself, and a lot of it is just what's the right thing? What's the right thing in this moment to do? And then I feel like that oftentimes causes me to step back, be more relaxed, take my time, work through it, and then execute it without so much as if it's an urgent thing and I have to freak out over it, right? So a lot of times just asking myself, what's the right thing to do? What's the more godly thing to do, the holy thing to do, or whatever? If I have a vision of what's perfection, if I have a vision of an ideal me, the best me, the me that I want to become. And if I have a vision of that and I just follow it, being calm is a lot more easy, I think. And sometimes when you pursue that, it takes a certain like sense of pretendness. You're pretending something that you're not in order to eventually become that. And when you're pretending, like if you put on a show, you're acting, and you don't necessarily have to get caught up in it emotionally. And that helps you get over emotional struggles because then they just pass over you. So a lot of times it's just putting yourself in a position mentally by talking to yourself or by pretending to be better than you are or whatever, that you just feel like you're confident and you don't really need to worry, and then you can just move forward with it. It's kind of interesting. I mean, and I'll tell you, just reflection in general, taking a moment to talk to yourself in the moment helps so much, because then you're forcing yourself to take a step back, to add another step where, like, instead of going from, oh no, this happened, and immediately to, now I need to fix it, I need to rush, and I need to, what do I even do? Instead of doing that, you put something right in the middle of it. And that thing in the middle forces you to slow down, because you can't, it forces you to slow down. And that thing you put in the middle is just self-reflection. So bam, this thing happens. It might be urgent, it might not be, whatever it is, this thing happens. And then you go, okay, wait, hold on. What's the best thing to do in this scenario? Okay, we've got a couple different options here, and then all of a sudden now you've talked yourself through it. You've maybe formalized a plan, and you've asked yourself what's the best. So now you have something that's guiding your direction and not just being urgent, freaking out over the situation and just trying to solve things recklessly. So just that inner meditation, even if it only lasts 2 seconds is a long enough pause to put you in the right place. Sometimes that inner reflection might take you several minutes. Sometimes that only take you a minute or a half a minute or 10 seconds. Most of the time doesn't really take that long, but you have that self-reflection. It forces you to slow down. It forces you into a more calm state because you remove yourself from the chaos of the situation, and then you allow yourself then to kind of step outside of all of it and then address the issue and move forward. So I think really for me, self-reflection is the key component to any to I mean almost any situation, and making it the best you can out of anything, or whatever it is. But yeah, what about you? What kind of things do you do that help you calm down and that sort of stuff?
Well, it was really interesting because sometimes you don't have a whole lot of time. I love how you said that. Like even if it's just 2 seconds of sitting there and just stepping back and reflecting a little bit, because sometimes you don't have much time. Sometimes you're not in a position to really take a lot of time to calm yourself down. But that's what really actually needs to happen, And so one thing that I had learned, I can't remember what author this was that was talking about this, but talking about physical triggers that you can do that you kind of associate that calm with, And so today, because I'm driving and like I'm getting at the times when I'm getting worked up, I'm trying to focus myself back to calming down and relaxing. I would just do this. Like I'm pulling a shade down or something, Silently, I would just do that motion. And that would just, okay, we're bringing it back down. All right. Just, and then I would associate that movement with the calming sensation.
Yeah.
And then it started to, take hold, and I was like, oh, that's very interesting, because you hear people they're like, oh, pinch your elbow, and that puts you in whatever mode, you program yourself to enter whatever state of mind when you do this one thing. Maybe you fidget with your ear, or pinch your chin, or whatever.
Yeah, I had 3 different things I used to do in the past. I haven't done them in a long time, but 3 different moments. So I can totally relate to that. I used to do this interesting hand gesture. I can't do it anymore. It's a sequence of hand movements. But and it looked cool, but I can't remember anymore. It was something like that. It wasn't exactly like that, but it was something like that.
Wait, do that again.
I think it's something like that.
Oh, wow.
And when you end it, you can go back to the start. So something like that. I can't remember. Wow. It was something like that. It was a weird sequence of hand gestures that I would do to kind of like awkwardly. It was kind of weird, but energize myself and focus on a task. But when I was really tired, what I would do is I would force myself into an adrenaline rush. So like if I'm at work and I'm like, I see myself slowing down, this was what I would do when I was working at Taco Bell. Oh, that's cool. See you, Jono. But anyways,
was it something we said?
Yeah. Did we offend you?
We're moving into customer relations now.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope everything's all right there, Jono.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I would force myself into an adrenaline rush because I'd be working at Taco Bell and I would just be getting drowsy and see myself slow down. I'm like, I don't know, I'm running out of energy. And so then I would like tense all of my muscles up in my body at the same time. And it would cause a surge, a chemical reaction in my brain, because I would kind of send it into shock a little bit, and that would fire me up for a good half hour, because then you've got your body, your blood pumping and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then another one I used to do was I don't remember the last one, but yeah, can't sleep, you're trying. Sorry, Rag Attack. Maybe you need to just shut down everything, all the electronics, and just not pick it up when you feel like you want to pick up the. Yeah. Do I think the world could have peace right now? That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
What do you think, Joe?
Is this where's Aldo?
Mm-hmm. Where's Aldo? Don't get it wrong.
Aldo?
Or is it A Aldo? There's two A's. Adel. Okay.
Well, like the name Aaron has two A's.
Yeah.
And you don't say Aaron.
Yeah, you say Aaron, obviously.
Or there's Lloyd from the Lego Ninjago movie.
Right. Yeah, Lloyd. Great.
But do I think the world could have peace right now? That's a very good question. With so many individual people, with so many individual ideas, I think for the most part, people are good people. And I know for a fact that all of us have good inside of us. Mm-hmm. Even someone who is, who we would see as evil. Many times people who are doing things that are evil, they think they're doing it for the good of the world.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, but I don't know. Could the world have peace?
It's kind of interesting because you can swing that two ways.
You could. I think we could. I think we totally could. We're definitely capable as people of being peaceful. It's hard though, because it seems as we move toward peace, somebody decides they want more for themselves, and so they, go and they start causing a ruckus somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes to bring peace, you got to stop that person. And so that's violent, to stop that person from doing that. And then there's peace, but it was brought at the cost of violence, So I don't know. That's a really tough one, because unfortunately, there's evil in the world. And while there's evil in the world, good people have to stand up to it. Because peace is a really, really awesome thing. But peace without justice, that's just tyranny. You don't have justice, you have peace, but there wasn't justice involved in that peace. Then all that is one person getting their way, and the rest of the people are just subservient to that, and they're just being taken advantage of. So that it's really, it's a really interesting question,
And those people generally aren't at peace.
Well, no.
They're peaceful towards each other, but they aren't at peace inside. And usually the person at the top is also suffering from not being at peace inside.
Absolutely. And I love what Haley just said, but sometimes the lack of peace can teach us things we wouldn't have learned otherwise. That is so, so true.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's another example of the reason that evil is allowed in the world. people will say, if God exists, why is there evil? And the reason is because God allows evil. He doesn't create evil, but he allows it in order to bring from it a greater good that wouldn't have been in the first place. And just like Haley just said, that's exactly an example of that. Like something bad happens, something evil or violent happens. And as a result, we are in a better place because we've learned something we never would have learned without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, okay, are we technically capable of having the whole world at peace? Sure, because, I mean, we're human, right? But then again, we're human, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think there's things set in motion that will pretty much for the rest of time likely always prevent peace, at least on a worldwide scale. And a lot of times people have struggled enough even getting peaceful with themselves. I don't know how we could expect the whole world to be at, or even a group of people, of like a group of like 5 people to be at peace with each other, when a lot of times so rare is a single peaceful moment or someone feel at peace in our current culture. Everyone, it's not just because everyone's busy and running around. I mean, you can be both at peace running around. It's just that a lot of times we're at war with ourselves. We are our worst enemy in a lot of cases. And if we don't become our friends, we're not going to be very peaceful with ourselves. But also spending time to develop that relationship with ourselves and do the things that keep our minds at peace. I think that is so hard for people today, that simply because it's so hard to be at peace with yourself, it becomes even harder to be at peace with other people around you. Because I mean, think about any of the times that you've been just upset in general, with yourself or something, and then trying to juggle relationships while you don't like yourself. I think we can all probably have experienced things along those lines, and how hard it is to, everything you do in that moment feels like you're being fake, right? Yeah. And it's not fun, it's generally kind of what depression is. And so, yeah, I think, is it possible? Is it humanly possible? Sure. But it will never happen, I don't think. And that's okay. I'm not going to say that's terrible. Just as Joe just recently pointed out, and Haley pointed out first, a lot of good things can come out of the bad. I think it would change if we could change the global culture to promote, my gosh, mental health and less hatred. You can see some of that in Europe, and I'm kind of in a kind of embryonic stage. I don't know exactly what part of Europe you're talking about or what you're referring to. I would like some more information on that if you have some. Because it's kind of hard for me. I know some people in like the UK, and the culture over there, especially like in London, is definitely not going in that direction. But I assume you mean something like Norway. Everyone I've ever met from Norway, oh my gosh, they're wonderful people. So I guess it depends. I'm just kind of curious what you're referring to in that statement. Because I'm not saying that you're in any way that you're lying. I'm just actually curious because I didn't know about it.
Yeah, well, I certainly agree things would change if we could change the global culture.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're here to do.
That's what we, Norway, Sweden, slightly in Germany. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Got it. Understood then. Yeah, and I think that, yes, that is totally true. I think the culture is 100% of, well, not 100%, but like 80% of what guides the way people think and the way people act. And so, you have another percentage in there based on personality, based on events that occur in their life that, have nothing necessarily to do with the culture. But, different things form who we are throughout our lives. But the culture is a giant part of that. And absolutely, we as a company, Black Static and Swerve, are founded. The whole reason we began our journey, and at least my whole reason I began my journey in writing music, was to change the culture, to at least have some part in that, because it's entirely extremely important. And we can see that. I mean, if you, just like you said, if you look at different parts of the world, or if you examine our culture today versus 20 years ago, and then 40 years ago, and 80 years ago, and whatever, you can see the cultural shift, and you can see where that took us, and how one leads to another. A lot of times I'm not the kind of person that's exactly, what's the word? Conservative or liberal, you could say. I'm not like, oh, we need to keep things as they used to be. We need to go back. And I'm also not like, hey, we need to push things forward and move. Ultimately, I don't care about either of those. All I care about is doing what's right. That's all that matters. Whether that means going back to something that we used to have, or moving forward to something that we've never had. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to be liberal or conservative. But just doing what's right is really all that matters in that realm. And I think we have a lot that we could do. And the more I see that we, change things to say like, this is acceptable now, and then all of the different things that come from it. Sometimes we accept things into our culture that are good and healthy, and then you see how the culture grows because of it, and more health comes out of that new change. And then a different change will come about, and it's not necessarily good for us. And then you'll see that be like falling down a staircase, one step at a time. Things seem to get worse and worse and worse in that direction. And it's really interesting to watch our culture do that. So I think, absolutely, culture is huge.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just put a blog post on the website the other day. Let's see. I'll put a link to it. It's about programming. Here, let me put it on here, because really, here, I'll just quote what I wrote in here. It said, our lives are based on our habits, right? And that can go for the culture too, right? Like a culture is just the collection of all of our lives, right? I mean, that's like, and where are we going, what we think, all these kinds of different things. But that's all based on our habits. Our habits are based on our actions. Our actions are based on our thinking, and our thinking is based on our programming. Like, what are we putting into our brain? What type of thoughts are we thinking? What type of media are we ingesting? All of those factors, influence our thoughts. And, where should we go now? Where should the culture go now? Really, I would like to see the culture move in a direction of, people truly loving each other, going beyond just acceptance, because I think that does a lot to just accept people as they are. And we definitely need to do that. But loving each other seems, it goes a little bit further than that. And it's desiring somebody's greatest good. It's, when you look at that person across from you, or you look at the people that are, the guy in the car next to you or everything, it's like, it's having in your heart a desire for their good, for their well-being and their mental peace, stability, their happiness, all of that. And happiness, a lot of times we think happiness comes from getting what we want, or pleasure, or, doing stuff like that. But I know for me, and maybe the same for you, sometimes my desires aren't exactly for good things.
Sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
sometimes the things I want aren't good for me sometimes.
Yep.
You know, and so sometimes I can deceive myself into thinking this is going to make me happy, but what actually happens is it leads to addiction, or it leads to being trapped by something. You know, I might love a certain drug because of the feeling I get from it, but the more right, but the more I do it, the more I'm enslaved by it. And the less free I am. And, you know, it's the same way with a lot of pleasure seeking. You know, if we seek pleasure, seeking pleasure generally leads to an addiction to that pleasure. You know, is when a lot of people say, I love this person, they really just are saying, I want this person.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, rather than saying, I actually love this person, I want what's best for them, they're actually just saying, I want this person, which is totally different, because that's a selfish thing. Whereas true love is a selfless giving, you know, thing. And whereas Aldo, I'm really glad that you brought this up, because I think the culture would be so much better. I think we could improve things so much better if we could get enough people to take their eyes off of themselves and focus on other people, and start to live more of a sacrificial life of saying, you know what, I'm going to give up this thing that I want for the betterment of somebody else.
Sure.
And then you start living more virtuously, and the more you live with virtue, the more free and happy you become. It's the most amazing thing. We think, oh, I'm going to be disciplined, and that's going to be this big, huge problem. I'm going to be, you know, it's going to structure things, and I'm not free at all. I'm slave to my disciplines. But what happens in actuality is the more disciplined you become in any area, the more free you become. Because now you have a set structure. You're like, you have a solid foundation that you're starting from, and you're not pulled in any direction by something outside yourself. You are now in charge of you, because it's self-discipline. So you are the one deciding for yourself. And I think, you know, if we could help people take their mind off of what I want, what's going to make me, you know, feel better right now, and more focused on how can I help other people, we could really start to see some great change.
By the way, where's Aldo? Thanks for all the great questions. I think that's awesome that you're asking these questions, and I'd like to see some of what you had to say in response to your own questions as well. But yeah, I would totally agree with you on that, Joe. To get a honest and real understanding of what love is out there, and having people participate in that would change so much. Actually, it would change everything. That would be the one biggest game changer you could possibly have. One of the biggest, rather. Because, yeah, if you understand love is not about getting what you want, and it's more about sacrifice. It's more about going through struggles for other people because you want the best for them. Love is ultimately just wanting the best for somebody, whether it hurts to help them or not. You know, sometimes it's a pleasure to help other people, and that's still love. But a lot of times you can't prove love without sacrifice, without suffering. And that's why, you know, it's just kind of how love is. It's interesting, and it's a beautiful thing. And there was one thing that the question was, what was the question? I'm trying to remember the question.
Is it the latest one?
No, not the latest one. The question that you were responding to, where things should go. Something like that. Trying to find
I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, which way do you think it should go now?
And that was when you were talking about liberal versus conservative and not being either one, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you had mentioned change, just the mindset of love. I would change a lot, and I agreed. There was another thing that I thought of, but I can't quite remember what it was, about where things should go. I think perhaps it'll come to me at a later date, but just because we're humans and we all desire love, and we all have a desire to give love as well. But the problem is a lot of times, we don't understand exactly what we're doing there. Oh, this is what I was thinking. You said, where should we go? And in the concept of, conservative liberal, maybe this is somewhat along those lines. One thing I wish that we would do, now that's really hard because people hate history, because history in schools is taught in a way that it is not fun at all. Like, maybe it's fun to some people, but it's not fun for most people. And not that everything needs to be fun, but even in schools, they don't do this. I wish people would go back and study human history in a way of really looking at it and identifying, okay, when we did this, things were good. And when we did this, things were bad. We can gain so much off of that in learning just about ourselves and how we should take action in the world. Like, we can read stories about people who lived awesome lives and go, I want to follow that. And then we can do those things that they did and find happiness in them, because truths are truths. If someone has a way of thinking and I adapt that way of thinking, I'm going to think the same things they do, right? I'm going to feel the same way they do, in a lot of ways. So if someone stands out to us in history that is a good role model, we should try our best to, in some ways, at least copy the things that we liked about them. Looking back at history about how humanity began, how civilizations were formed, how they got destroyed, and looking into those concepts can really teach us a lot about humanity, teach us about our history, about who we are as a human race, about our past, and how we should move forward, especially because there's so much there that we have already been through. And I see, as I look into the past, we repeat our problems over and over, and they always turn out the same in the end every time we do it. And it's like, people think, oh, this is the first time we've ever done this. And it's like, actually, it's not. And this is how it turned out there. And you can look through history and see, like, a lot of the things people are talking about. People think, like, I heard one recently. It was in a talk. People are like, wow, the colleges, they've never been so bad. People are going on strike. And this girl is like, well, actually, in 1968, it was a lot worse. You never knew whether you'd go to school that day and you'd show up and everybody would be on strike, or if you could actually attend class. And it was like an every other day thing. It was weird in 1968. And then she was like, and also, people are like, wow, I'm in outrage. People at sports events, the professionals, they're doing this weird thing where they're standing up for whatever rights and refusing to pledge allegiance to the flag or whatever. They're all doing terrible things. And it's like, actually, in 1968, if you had been there, the athletes were doing the same thing back then. Like, this is actually all repeat stuff. Like, this isn't new, okay? This didn't just happen all of a sudden. Like, that's stuff that's happened before. And that's stuff that's happened in Rome. That's stuff that's happened way, like, thousands of years ago. But there's things to learn from that. And what I think would be really helpful to our culture is to just actually instill a passion in people. Now, that's really hard, but instill a passion in people to actually ask the questions that you're asking, and to look into the human race and who we are, where we came from, what we've done, and just say, now, based on all of that, where can we go? Because that will help us move forward in a lot of ways. The human race is an incredible, amazing, beautiful, absolutely just wonderful thing, and I love humans, and it's so cool that we get to be here. But yeah, it's also interesting because we cause a lot of our own despair too. It's really interesting. But anyways, you asked a question. A really good question is, do you think changing the culture would change people's mindsets enough to get there? And my immediate response is, I think that changing the culture requires a mindset change. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think in order to change the culture, you have to first change people's minds. In order to change people's minds, it's a lot about programming, like Joe was talking about earlier. That's why, we're writing music to program people's minds, even though it sounds like we're manipulating people. No matter what you do, you're manipulating people. You're programming people's minds. If you hang out with your friends, you're manipulating them in that way. You're programming their minds in some form or another, whether you're nice to them or you're mean to them, whether you tell a joke about chickens or you tell a joke about monkeys. I don't know. Anyways, every action you do has an effect. Uh-huh. And even the way you laugh is going to change the way other people laugh, especially if you have children. They might end up laughing just like you laugh.
They do.
And
it's
not
funny.
Genetics. That's just because they hear you laugh and they copy.
It might be genetics.
It might be somewhat genetics. That's okay if it is. But yeah, I think, in order to change the culture, we have to change people's mindsets. In order to change people's mindset, you just have to get out there and be who you are, being the best version of yourself that you can be, and infect other people with that. Infect other people with that, but with the direction. Because if you infect other people with, hey, just be the best person you can be, but you don't give them a direction, they're just going to be the same, or they're going to get worse more intensely, right? If their direction is off. So you have to subtly also incorporate, like, be your best, but also here's some things that I found worked for me in that realm, and then that will kind of guide other people in what they're doing. And I think while that may seem manipulative, I mean, how else are you going to change the culture? And it's not really intentionally manipulating people for our own good. It's more about what can we do for other people, even if they don't notice that we're doing it, because we're being upfront about it, right? But even if they don't notice, what can we do for other people? And the main thing we can do for other people is just help them, and help them in the way that they think, so that they can make decisions for themselves, and we don't have to be there the whole time trying to tell them what to do, because they're not going to listen to us most of the time anyways. But we can give them little nuggets, right? And so, it's all about the mindset. And I think,
no matter what you teach or tell somebody, who you are speaks so much more loudly. Who you are as a person. Like I've heard somebody say, what you say I cannot hear. No, wait, what you do speaks so loudly. Yeah. What you say I cannot hear. And I was like, ooh, that's so good. Yes, schools need to change. Yes, there's huge education stuff that needs to change. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff that needs to change. Where's Aldo? And one of the things I love this discussion, and I love what we're talking about, because it's so true. And like Ryan said, this is kind of the basis of what Black Static and Swerve was started on. It's like, how can we bring an alternative media to the world? How can we bring different information to as many people as we possibly can? And we're small, our community is, we're this close knit group of people, and it's so cool. Everybody, we're all together and we're getting to know each other digitally, which is so much fun. And I can't wait to expand and expand and expand. But one of the things one quote I love is by Gandhi, when he said, "Become the change you seek in the world." And there was this anecdote that was told about a man who said, I want to change the world. And so he tried to change the world and he failed. And he's like, well, okay, so I'll settle for changing my country. So he worked really hard and tried to change his country, and he didn't do that. So he was like, well, I guess I'll settle for my city. And so he tried to change his city, and he worked really hard to change the city, and he couldn't do it. So he said, well, geez, maybe I can change my family, you know? And so he tried really hard, and he taught and he talked and he worked with his kids and his significant other and everything, and they worked to get, and nope, couldn't change him. And then he was really old. And when he was reflecting back on all the work he'd done and his failed efforts, it came to him, this realization. He's like, you know what? If I would have changed myself, if I would have sought out what was right, what was the right thing to be doing, and the right, the right way to be thinking, all these kinds of different things, and done that for myself, maybe I could have influenced my family by who I was. And then by influencing my family, we could have influenced the city. And our city could have influenced the nation, and our nation could have influenced the world. But it all, like Joseph Bohan said earlier in the stream, said, it all starts with you. It all starts with each one of us. We really, I mean, as much as we want to, we can talk and we can try and change the culture for sure. We can provide better information to help people think properly, all these kinds of different things. But it really comes down to, what am I doing to change myself to live in a more right way? What am I doing to learn what's right and then do what's right? And that's, it can be hard. Which is why, it was funny. I was talking to Jesse yesterday on the phone. We had a really great phone conversation for like 2.5 hours. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I was working, and I was like, and it was great because he kept me company for a while I was working. And but yeah, one of the things, it's like, sometimes we get focused on a situation, or we get focused on a problem. And it's hard to shift that focus to the future, the hopeful future, if I can change, something like this. We're talking about change and how hard it is sometimes, and all these kinds of all that stuff. I've just noticed I say all those kinds of things a lot. I need to, like,
I haven't noticed that. Maybe I say that a lot too then.
I had to adjust my yeah, exactly. But one thing that can always happen, your current circumstances, the best thing about your current circumstances is that they don't have to be your current circumstances, because you can change. Now, changing you is a hard thing to do sometimes. And I would never recommend to somebody do a complete 180 and change everything about your life immediately.
No, there's great things to build off of everybody. Yeah. Everybody's been through enough and learned and done great things. So yeah.
Right. You can't, you can't necessarily do a complete flip of your entire life in a minute. So what I generally recommend, and this is something that I did, was I just started changing one thing at a time. One little thing at a time. And it's crazy. Like, before you know it, after a while, you end up in a totally different place than you were before.
Yeah.
And like,
and then you feel like, this is where I am. This is me. But then you're like, and you look back and you're like, wow, it really was different back then. Like, yeah. Illness doesn't feel like back then.
It's weird. Like, I used to stay up late and sleep in late, and because I'm self-employed, so I can do my work whenever, as long as it's daylight hours. I can do whatever. So I would do that, and And now, little change, little change, little change, little change here and there, boom, 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 boom. Now I've flipped it completely. And I go to bed early and I get up really early. Like I get up at 3:00 in the morning. So I can start working on stuff, and I'm getting much more done. You saw me what?
I saw you adding things to the own cloud or the next cloud this morning at 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, there he is. He's working. Nice. Yep. Good job, Joe.
Yep, that was like the very last part before I left to go out into the doing inspections because it was just starting to get light out. But yeah, it's but I didn't do all that all at once. I didn't start eating healthy and exercising and going to bed early and getting up early all at once. It was one thing at a time, little shifts here and there. And it really, like, I look back and these shifts started about 3 years ago. Was when I was looking at my life and I was like, you know what, this really isn't working. I need to change something. And the first thing I changed, incidentally, was physical activity. And more successful people I come across, that's the first thing they change. They get tired of the life they're living. They get tired of the way things are. They get tired of, how it is. And something guides them to start doing something physical. Start running when they get up, or start doing some jumping jacks when they get up, or, stuff like that, where they're doing something that gets blood moving through their body and gets oxygen, it kind of refreshes them. And it actually helps you to not age as quickly because it recycles your, your body, it kind of renews you to do that. And it doesn't have to be. Now, I didn't start like immediately going crazy.
You go crazy now, though.
Sometimes. Well, I can't go all that crazy right now because I'm kind of nursing a little bit of a shoulder injury. But so all of my legs are paying the price because I can't really do much upper body workouts. So now it's all legs. Nice. But yeah, now I'm doing like some pretty intense workouts. But when I started, it was just, hey, I'm going to do something for 10 minutes. Or I'm going to do something for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Or even 1 minute. I'm going to just do 50 jumping jacks in a minute.
So try to do 10 push-ups. See how far I get.
10 push-ups. I can remember the first time trying to do 10 push-ups when I hadn't done push-ups since high school.
Yep. Yeah, I know. On the note of changing yourself to change the world, obviously you can't, it's hard to know how to help other people if you haven't helped yourself yet. And a lot of times you learn that through going through your other, what you go through. But a lot of times what I recommend to people now, especially as I've learned, because I went through the process of trying to change other people to help them. Because I was like, oh man, you're struggling in this area. Listen, this is what you got to do. You got to try this, this, and this. A lot of times it doesn't work. A lot of people don't want to hear it. What I learned is the most helpful thing you can do for your friend if you want them to start growing in a specific area. Number one, set an example by being the person that grows in front of them, because then they look at you and they go, wow, that's so cool that they're doing that. And then they get inspired to act. They see their friend able to do it and they think, what if I tried to do something like that? And it's as simple as something like picking a pencil up off the floor for another person, and they watching you do that, or allowing someone else to get ahead of them in line and saying, oh, it's okay, I can be patient, you can go ahead if you'd like, whatever it is, things like that. But the other thing I recommend to people now, is a game changer. It was for me, at least. And it's this: if you want to help somebody, ask that person for help. So when you see someone that you want to help and they're going through problems, a lot of times you try to help them through, they're just really not listening, or they listen to you, but they don't try to act on it. The best thing you can do is you have to make them feel important. Like their ideas are good ideas because they are. And so you start out asking simple questions like, hey, I'm trying to find a good band to listen to, or some good music to listen to while I work on my homework or whatever it is. And you say, can you help me find some? Or do you know of any good music? Because then you're validating their opinion. You're validating the things that they've studied. You're validating something that they feel is important. Or even more helpful is coming to them with a personal problem. Because a lot of times they might come to you like, oh, this happened to me and it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. Come to them with something that's a personal problem. Like, hey, I'm struggling with this in a relationship I have with my friend, or whatever it is. And then honestly listen to what they have to say. And then at the end, maybe you don't agree with it. Maybe you think it's bad advice, but at the end you say, thanks, I'll have to keep that in mind. It's a pretty good idea, or something along those lines, because that will not only validate them and make them feel like their opinions matter, their ideas matter. It will increase your relationship with them to a point where now they might listen to you. And then it also makes it a relationship, more of a relationship where both parties are vulnerable and growing together. I think that's crucial. In order for an intimate relationship, a relationship that's close, you need to have intimate conversations. And sometimes that means being vulnerable. That means talking about personal things, and so, and all of that is just love, right? All of that is a loving way to interact with people, as our topic was before. But I think if you want to change the world, I think one of the main things is, again, like, especially in the Western culture, we have so much human interaction that is barely even surface level. You have really basic conversations about nothing that matters, about things like, oh, did you watch the TV show last Saturday? Like, oh yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it was funny. Cool. Like, I mean, that's okay, but it's surface. It's not deep. It's not beautiful. It's not poetic. It's not anything. It's just a surface level conversation that doesn't increase your relationship with that person, even if it's something you share in common. And so I think that really still goes back to the concept of how we should be loving on each other a little bit more, better, understanding that. But the Western world, I think, suffers. And you know what? I'm not going to rule out the Eastern world. The Eastern world totally as well. Totally suffers from an inability to be intimate, to really dig into human relationships and try to get the most out of them and try to be the most in that, to try to really make them fruitful and go out of your way to really just give them what they deserve, because humans are valuable. I think that's another thing, human value. The Western world and the Eastern world has it. The Eastern world had it wrong for a really long time, and now the Western world is adapting a lot of the Eastern world views on human value. And so more and more you see the Western world going with the idea of human value is equal to how useful a human is. And that's terrible, because not only does that make infants zero value, because they can't do anything for you. They're just things that you have to do everything for.
Right.
Or people who are sick in bed, they have no value. But not only does it do that, but it also makes it the person who uses people the most are the people that create the most value and are the most valuable. And that's totally weird. That's not right. We shouldn't be using people. That shouldn't be a means of value. And so that's been that way in the Eastern world. And that's why you have places like Japan and Korea having extremely high suicide rates, is because these people feel like they're useless. And because they feel like they're useless, they say, oh, I have no value. I am nothing. There's no reason for me to be here. So there's no reason to live. I'll just be gone. And that's terrible. And I think the Western world is more and more so adopting that idea. And so human value, if it's not love, it's just really human value. Understanding human value, I think, is entirely important in understanding that we're all infinitely valuable. I hope it to make it more common. I hope to make it more common, though I may jump into the deep end too quick. No, there's no too deep, man. I'll tell you, I thrive for deep conversations. I love deep conversations. And you know what? Almost everybody does. A lot of people, I have friends who I've had deep conversations with, and they were like, that was refreshing. Because all of my friends that I have in school or at college or whatever, no matter whatever point of life they're in, they don't have friends that they have deep conversations with. Everything is surface level. But being able to jump into the deep conversations, the questions that are really personal or meaningful, of what defines them. Yeah, it's people like to be safe. Yeah, and that's so true. But the funny thing is, you don't have anything to lose. You only have everything to gain. Right. I think a lot of people are afraid of arguments. They don't want to say something that will be like, oh, this person, like, I don't want to say something and other people disagree with me because then they think I hate them or something. I think that's a common...
We're afraid of the opinion of others.
Yeah, we're afraid of the opinion of others. But when you learn to put others in the right place and value, like if you learn to just love each other, if you learn to do that, then you can't be afraid of other people's opinions, because opinions don't change who we are. Changes don't change what I've done in the past or what I want to do with my life or anything. And it doesn't even make it so that they're not my friend. I have plenty of people who I don't share opinions with. In fact, everybody. There's no one person on earth that I'd share every one opinion with.
Yeah, we've had some arguments.
Yeah. I've won them. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. We generally don't argue. But
no, well,
we've had disagreements. Exactly. Yeah, we've never really argued, but we've had difference of opinions, and that's okay. Like, that doesn't mean we can't be friends. And in fact, they cause us to go deeper into the conversation, because we're like, okay, now I have something to study, because I do wonder, it makes me wonder, like, where did I get my opinion from? And where did you get your opinion from? And what basis of truth is that on? And is there fact there, or is it nothing, And so, or did someone just say that one time and we thought it was real, and so then we went off of that? Like, that happens a lot, especially with school and parents and whatever. Someone says something and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then it's like, you find out years later, like, that was not true.
That was a manipulation. That was partially true. And, then manipulated a little bit, and there was an agenda behind it. And all this kind of stuff. There's all kinds of things to watch out for.
Yeah, that happens all the time, everywhere, Yeah, I mean, I've even done that myself. Ashamed as I am to say that, I know that. I mean, I'm human. So I've conversed with people and gave like part of the truth just to make something sound bad, but not the whole truth, to actually show how it's probably good, but people do that all the time. And that causes other people to hate specific people or whatever, just because of some fact that's not even a fact, or even if it is, it doesn't really, it's not like you make it into a bigger deal than it is. Right.
Well, but the truth of the matter is every single one of us is of equal value.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know that value is infinity? Like,
you can't remember it.
Yeah, you get, like, we all, every one of us, from like the highest profile, wealthiest, person, superstar, whatever, has the same value as the person on the street that was begging for your change with the little cardboard sign saying anything helps, which I just saw. I saw it today. We're the same value, and that value is infinite just because
Thanks, Jack.
we exist.
I love you.
Yes, Jack. BSS is better than BTS. I don't even know what BTS is.
I actually don't know what it stands for, but it's a K-pop band.
Oh, it's K-pop. Okay.
K-pop
cool.
Group, not a band. K-pop group.
Cool. So where's Aldo? Boy, I sure do appreciate this conversation.
Yeah. Hey, Aldo, man.
Welcome to the community, because I've never seen you before here.
Yep.
And thank you so much for
somewhat familiar. I think there might have been a Where's Waldo a long time ago. But if it was a Where's Aldo, then I apologize if you're the same Where's Aldo from a long time back.
Yes, thank you, Princess. We thank Princess every stream.
We do it every stream, yes.
Multiple times, all the time.
She's wonderful.
Yes. And I did notice.
Okay. This is
good. I did notice that Jack is here.
Hey, Jack. Hey, that's great.
Jack, we've been waiting for you to be here, because we got something that you posted back on October 12th.
Oh my. By the way, I'm sure Anonymous is listening. I'm sorry we didn't get to your question. I didn't post it. That's my fault. Again, I just apologize. There's nothing else I can say beyond that. So I'm sorry, Anonymous.
Yeah. Well, we've got a little bit of time left. So do you want
to do the actual show for a moment?
Yeah. Do you want to handle Jack's post here, since Jack is here?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the hugs, Anonymous. Hugs back to you.
Yes, hugs. I don't even see the hugs, but I can feel them in cyberspace.
Cyberspace is a beautiful feeling. What? Okay, so we've got where's the Jack one? What's it called?
Jack, horror and sleeping issues. Do you want me to read it since I have it up?
Okay. Here? Yeah, I got it. But yeah, go please do.
Okay. So Jack says, so I have this thing that's really not so good. I don't know for sure if it's this. I don't know for sure if it's this, but I think it's anxiety. But easily can't sleep at night if I see something in a freaky way scary. Can you help? To sum it up, can't sleep if I think of something freakishly scary. So I can't watch horror movies.
That's totally understandable.
I can't either, to be quite honest with you, Jack. I have a lot of trouble with that. So, but Ryan, I'm gonna ask if you have something to say first.
Sure. If I've watched a horror, I remember doing this when I was a kid. I watched a horror movie and then instantly regretted it when I tried to go to sleep, and I'm like, I can't sleep. Why did I watch that? That was terrible. And what I would do is now this might be hard because even my parents were strict about sleeping. It's bedtime, you go to sleep. We didn't have phones back in the day to play around on while we were in bed. That wasn't a thing. And even if they were, they probably would have taken my phone away so that I couldn't. My mom was a little strict, and that's good. So anyways, but usually I would only ever watch a horror movie around Halloween time when I was on like vacation, and my mom didn't know about it because she really didn't like horror movies. She didn't want to watch them. She really didn't want us watching them because she knew that if you watch one, now you have to like sit in bed thinking you're going to die. So instead, okay, here's what I did. I would go and I would play a game until it was completely off my mind, or I would go and I would have a conversation with somebody, or do something different to get my mind on a new track, a new process of thinking, new thoughts in my brain, so that I could go to bed. And if it came back, if the thoughts came back and I couldn't fall asleep through them, because usually, you know, I think a lot in my head, and I could tell myself, well, don't be irrational. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen before the movie. It's not going to happen after the movie. The movie was just a movie. It was stupid. Or what, you know, whatever it is. Maybe it's just the thought that comes to your head and maybe not a movie, whatever. If it comes back, I just try to sleep through it. And if I can't, then I'll try it again. I'll see if I can go do something different for a while. Maybe it's work on some art. Maybe it's work on some music. Maybe it's something productive. Or maybe just chilling, playing a game, talking to somebody, whatever it is, to get my mind off. Watch an anime, watch a movie, a better kind of movie. The thing is, a movie might be good, because if you watch a movie and it's bad and it's like a nightmare or something from it, what you can do instead is watch an equally long, if not longer, movie of positive information. And then your brain will be filled with good things, and then you can take off of that. That's one suggestion I would have. I think a lot of it is just telling yourself, like, you know, shut up, you're fine, man up, be cool, you know. But it's not always that easy, and I understand that. You know, we've all been scared, you know, trying to go to sleep. So, you know, you're definitely not the only one. And if you do get nightmares, we had a talk last Wednesday about that with Princess. We were talking about how to kind of avoid the nightmares, you know, but a lot of it is just programming. What kind of programming are you having before you go to bed? You know, what mental intake do you have? What are you feeding yourself mentally? Is it good stuff? So what Joe was recommending was thinking about the things that you want to do in the future, like your dreams, and thinking vividly about those, running yourself through those vividly. Like imagine, or whatever you're afraid of, you just imagine the opposite. But yeah, like imagine, oh man, one day I want to live in a place out in the country, has big fields, and I've got like 25 sheep. No, 26. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, whatever it is, you know, everyone has different dreams. That's not one of mine. I just put that out there. Or maybe like, oh, I want to, you know, live in a big house and I want it to have like tile floor. What kind of tile floor should I have though? Maybe should I have like a checkered pattern, or should I do like all of it kind of like that brown, but like, you know, marble look. You know, and I want these giant pillars, and the pillars would like have like the lines on them that go down, or maybe like they're all sculpted into like cool, like twisting and winding dragons, or, you know, whatever. Envision things that are healthy for your mind, and fill your mind with those things before you sleep. Because then when you sleep, that's the note your subconscious leaves off on and builds off of while you dream. We talked a little bit about the dreaming functionality and how dreams work last Wednesday. You can go back to that if you want to listen to that in a little bit more detail. But ultimately, your brain just kind of puts things together and then tries to make a story out of it. But it mostly leads off of whatever your thoughts were recently before you fell asleep. That's your first line of data that your brain has to work off of. So it takes that and it moves that forward into a story. So thinking before you go to bed, purposefully thinking about good things, or, you know, going into prayer if you are religious, or meditation, etc. But yeah, that's what I got. I took some of what Joe said last time, or we said collectively. But yeah, I don't know what Joe had to say on this.
Thievery.
Yes. I'm sorry.
You took what I was going to say.
I
have a routine. You know, it's funny. You know, I was analyzing this actually, and it's like the opposite direction at night as it is in the morning. So like the first thing I do when I get up, well, okay, actually not. The first thing I do when I'm actually conscious, because, you know, when I first wake up, it takes me a little while to actually become conscious. So And here's a great way if you have trouble getting up and staying up when you get up, like not going back to bed. Here's what here's kind of what I do. And this will all come back to the falling asleep thing, Jack, so bear with me. But okay, so beginning the day, you get up, and usually it's, straight to the bathroom or whatever, so, but first things first, drink some water because your body's dehydrated, from being asleep for however long you were asleep. So you're dehydrated for not drinking water that long. So drink a glass of water and then brush your teeth first thing. And if you're really struggling, also use like really minty mouthwash, because that gets the briskness going, right? So, but then after I do that, after I get up and I'll go and drink the water and brush my teeth and use mouthwash and kind of jump, walk around a little bit and go up and down the stairs and whatever, now I'm actually kind of, the blood's moving and I'm not going to just fall asleep. So first thing.
Wow, you have a hard time getting up.
I do.
That's funny because you're the one that gets up like crazy early in the morning. When I wake up, I just like, all right, I'm awake. I'm like, even if I'm so dead tired, I'll be like, if I just get up, I'm going to be up. So I get up and then I'm up. Mm-hmm. I should be a morning person, but I'm not. I'm okay whatever time of day it is. I can be up.
Sure. Well, yes, you are. Absolutely.
I'm very blessed for that to be the case. I don't know.
Yep. Which means you can decide whenever it is you want to get up, you can get up. Yeah. That was a realization I came to this year. It's like, like.
Oh yeah, right. That's true. You have to come to that realization at some point. You're like, wait, I can just get up when I want to get up and actually do it.
Exactly. And I can go to bed when I want to go to bed. I can get up when I want to get up. All these kinds of different things. Here I go again. All those different kinds of things. I say that so much. You guys are probably annoyed with me.
All those different kinds of things.
All those different kinds of things. So anyway, so once I'm actually conscious and I know I'm not going to go fall back asleep. Oh, and the other thing is I found out that I can't do any of this stuff sitting in my bed.
That's true.
I can't do anything like sitting in general, actually. Usually, okay. So then first,
you're actually standing right now, aren't you?
Well, right now I'm sitting in a chair.
Yeah,
in a chair that I routinely take naps in, actually, which is kind of interesting. But so first thing I do, pray. And I pray while kneeling, because I can't do it while sitting or I'll fall back asleep. I can't do it lying down or I'll fall back asleep. I do it either standing or kneeling. So lately it's been kneeling. And then, so pray and then meditate, prayer, meditation kind of go together. And then the next thing is visualize what the goal I'm shooting for right now. What is my big goal, my big dream, whatever that I see in the future that I'm aimed at, that I'm working towards, all that stuff. I visualize what it's going to be like to hit that. Right. And I do that for a minute, and then I go through an exercise of what am I thankful for? That's huge. If you're having trouble with fear, if you can think of what you're thankful for, that's like the antidote for just about everything, is gratitude. So I think, what am I thankful for? What am I looking forward to? What am I going to do to move in that direction? Those three questions. Then affirmations. And this is like a building up, thing, this can sound so corny and so cheesy. For those of you who have ever seen the Saturday Night Live sketch about, what was his name? Stuart Smalley, I think.
I wouldn't know.
Affirmations with Stuart Smalley. Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Okay, yeah. When you look in the mirror and you say those things, yeah, they seem corny, but yeah.
But affirmations, like just to just a little snippet is, I am just as worthy, deserving, and capable of achieving extraordinary levels of success and all of my goals as any other person on earth. And the only thing that separates me from those at the top is my level of commitment. That's like the beginning of an affirmation. But this is just building up who I am to me. It's like selling myself to myself, you know? And so that's kind of what I start my day with. And then I exercise and do all this kind of stuff and do all that kind of stuff again. So then at night, it's the opposite. Before I go to bed, I have affirmation where I go through, okay, what am I good at? What am I, what I resell myself to myself, right? So I go through some affirmation. It's usually shorter at night because I'm usually tired. And then after that, visualize my goal, my dream. What am I shooting at? What am I looking at? What can I do tomorrow? And I write it in a little phone app, what can I do tomorrow to move toward that? Do that. And then after that, pray. And then after I pray, I climb into bed. And I have had no trouble with fear, no trouble with anything. It's just so easy to fall asleep because the bookends of my day are disciplined like that. Like the beginning of my day, the ending of my day, there's a ramp on and off the sleep road,
Right.
that gets me into being awake and then goes back into, sleep.
And both of them are very thankful or very positive.
Yeah. Yep. That's filled cool. With gratitude. That is so key. If you have trouble with fear, if you have trouble with negative attitude or sadness, all that disappointment, anger gratitude issues is your antidote. I promise. If you start thinking of the things you can be thankful for, that is so powerful. So powerful, because all of us have things we can be thankful for. Everybody. What's amazing? Most of us probably have all of our body parts. Most of us probably function relatively normally. Our bodies do. And there are people that they're born with no arms, no legs, and they have a better attitude than most people who can, fully function.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me because they understand, okay, look, I'm in this situation. I can't change it. So this is me. Big deal. What can I do now? What can I do? Well, I can contribute somehow. There's got to be a way. And they are some of the most inspiring people because of that. And so now here, okay, it seems like we've gotten kind of far afield because this question was about, it's hard to fall asleep when you watch a scary movie. Well, first step, as I'm sure you read in the thing and heard Ryan say and heard me say, maybe don't watch a scary movie before you go to bed. I can't watch scary movies at all.
Yeah, they're not really good for you. I mean, I think one concept of anything is if you look at it and you say, is this going to be good for me or is this going to be not good for me? I think that should help you in your decision making. Like sometimes you might look at a bag of Doritos and say, is this going to be good for me? And you might go, no. And it's okay to say no to them. But sometimes you're like, hey, like I need some kind of nutrition, something to fill that void. So at this point in time, it's okay because it's like all I have. But yeah. And it's the same thing with movies. What do you is the movie going to be good for you? Because that's a good question to ask. Anyway, sorry. And you can ask anything about your friends and so on. But
yep. Well, I had one coworker that used to watch. She talked about, she was a big horror movie fan. She really
I
liked
got
scary
that.
movies.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about how she would like go to sleep with horror movies on. Like she'd have her TV on the horror movie channel or whatever, and like
Okay.
just have them going all night long.
And to each their own.
And I could not imagine that. I would flip out. I would be like, how? I would not be able to sleep. I would have so much trouble. So yeah, I mean, we're all wired a little bit differently, but it sounds like I'm wired a lot like you, Jack, because if I watched a scary movie, even if I watched it, 2 days ago, I probably would still have an issue, with my thinking today. And, you know, but one of the things you said in your question, you don't know for sure, but you think it might be anxiety. That's definitely a possibility. Now, anxiety, worry, they're kind of like synonyms. I did hear a quote the other day. It was really powerful. Worry is just the misuse of our imagination.
Nice. That's a good one.
That was so powerful when I read that. I was like, that's absolutely true. It's like it's the misuse of your imagination. It's something that hasn't happened. It's something that likely will never happen, but we're afraid of it and we're imagining it over and over and over again, and we're getting ourselves all worked up over it. It makes no sense. It's like a snooze button. The snooze button makes no sense to me. I
Right. Why
use
would you
it.
set the alarm to that if you didn't mean to get up then?
What's that?
I said, why would you set the alarm to that if you didn't mean to get up at the time where you set the alarm to?
Right, yeah. But the
Then we
snooze
press,
button, think about it.
yeah.
People who hit the snooze button, the reason it is because they hate waking up. So I hate waking up so much that I'm going to repeat it over and over and over again every morning by hitting the snooze button and having to repeat the thing I hate
Yeah.
again and again and again.
Yeah, it's so true.
You
Just
know what I
set
mean?
it to like 10 minutes past when you're supposed to wake up at least, and then just get up the first time it goes off. Because then
Yeah.
you actually get to sleep. Like if you wake up in the morning, you're like, well, I could get 10 more minutes of sleep in. That just set it to like not having enough time to begin with. Like, okay, I can't get ready in 5 minutes. I can probably get ready in like 10, but I know I can't get ready in 5. Okay, we'll set it to 5 then. Wake up. And then when you wake up, you're like, I gotta run. And then you'll be really up.
Just do like I do now. I set it for 4 hours before I have to be anywhere.
There you go.
Maybe 5.
Yeah, well, then you get a ton of work done in the morning.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But here's the key to that. I set my alarm clock across the room. So in order to shut it off, I have to get up and walk across the room and turn it off.
You know the problem with that is?
Hmm.
Some people literally do that, and then they literally walk back to their bed and go back to sleep.
Well, I do that. I've done it before.
See?
But at least I have to, it's almost like I have to make the choice to do that though.
Yeah, then you're making it. Then you feel like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to do it because I'm just so tired. I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Hey, like,
So
you're
anyway,
disappointed in yourself. You take the walk of shame back to your bed.
it is a walk of shame. It's like, and then you start justifying it, well, I do have 5 hours before I have to do anything. So
You're like, am I really doing this right now? Yep, I am. All right. Okay, here I am. And I'm sleeping.
Yep. It's amazing. But yeah, hopefully some of that helps, Jack. And I'm sorry if it seemed like I went in a roundabout way with all that, but I just wanted to impress upon you guys the importance of the routine, the morning and nighttime routines, how important that, just doing something like that in a routine can build discipline in you, and it also it frees your mind, you know, and it gets you, it kind of trains you in a way. So then, you know, you won't be shackled to fear, you know, because you will trust yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Being thankful is important. I really like that one.
Akil, how about hiding your alarm before bed? Now you can play hide and seek with the annoying noise.
Yes, if you're so tired that you don't remember where you put it.
Oh,
that's great.
There's nothing more frustrating, you know, when you have a really annoying alarm clock sound. And I used to do this all the time when I had my alarm clock set next to me. It was just a little battery powered, or maybe it was my phone or something. And I would bump it and I would knock it down on the floor and it'd like bounce under my bed somewhere.
And then you'd have to like,
and I'd have to go look for it. And I'm like, oh no, I can't find it. And it's going off and it's going off and it's going off.
And the whole time you're looking for it, you're still in bed.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not getting out of these covers. And I'm going to like try to maneuver myself in the most awkward and more like physically active ways. Because if you got out of bed, it would be less effort. But, yeah.
Well, you know, there is a danger though. You start having this routine, like, you know, the routine of first thing I get up, I drink a bunch of water and then I brush my teeth and use a mouthwash. And then I'm like waking up, you know. There was one night where I had gone to bed kind of early because I was like, okay, I'm going to get a little extra sleep. And I got up and I just immediately went and started doing that routine. And I did the routine. And by the time I was fully awake, I looked at the clock and it was like 12:30, just after midnight.
It's a bit too early, eh?
I was like,
you got a lot of time. You get 7 hours before you have to be anywhere.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack, for posting, and, you know, thanks for being here. So, you know, we could address it with you here.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I would just stay away from the horror movies. I mean, maybe you like them and that's your thing, but there's a reason they're attractive, and there's also a reason they do a lot of harm to our psyche.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yep. Even there's, you know, sometimes it can seem like innocuous, like stuff that's not even that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not long ago, and I think I wrote this in my blog post.
Anna's here.
Hey, Anna.
Unfortunately, we can't answer your question now because you're a bit late, but I love you. Welcome.
Sorry. Yeah, but I had binged on a podcast about, you know, different cities and crime and all this kind of stuff in these different cities. And then at the end of my day, I was like, why am I so dejected? I just feel like blah, you know, like. And then I thought back, I was like, oh my gosh, it's because I program myself with gangster talk all day. Like mobsters, gangsters, and, you know, like organized crime stuff all day. And I was like,
it's interesting, but at the same time, it really does change your attitude and the way you're meant. You're programming your mind and your habits and things like that. Even in one day, though, that's amazing.
Yep. It's amazing what you're programming, what the stuff you put in your head, the impact it has on you. So be really mindful of that. You know, listen to Static P.
Whoever that is.
Watch the Criminal Idol series, the ever expanding Criminal Idol series.
Oh, it's expanding so rapidly too, like 1 episode a year, or something like that.
It's expanding.
No,
it's about to have a serious expansion.
It is. We've got like 5 episodes that can come out almost like in a month's time. But that
One
doesn't
right
mean
after the other.
YouTube.
Boom,
But they're always
boom,
going to be on
boom,
Spotify.
boom. Yes, and I'm super excited for them. I can't wait. I'm wondering what order they're going to be in. I'm wondering which of those, because we kind of have the database of all of the songs in progress, and there's like 1,000 of them. So I'm wondering which ones of these are actually the Criminal Idol series.
Yeah, which ones are going to be actually part? Which ones are like, oh, I thought that one was going to be in it. Guess it's for something.
It's like, man.
I have some that are for the second album. Yeah. Anyways, go on.
Ryan and I have we've collaborated on some stuff together, in the past. And, I look forward to being able to do that again. Obviously, we're collaborating here on Don't Worry Wednesday, but, on music and stuff too. And some of Ryan's songs, it's like, I've thought up some lyrics too.
Yeah.
And then he takes them and uses them for something else. And I'm like, oh.
Dude, you should tell me like when you do that because I'm terrible with lyrics. You know that. Although sometimes they're reserved for Criminal Idol, so it's like doesn't matter what kind of lyrics you come up with.
Right.
Probably won't work unless I can just reuse, like, if it could work, like, so a lot of times the chorus of the songs aren't necessarily to do exactly with the Criminal Idol series, but it's just like a good message within the sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a standalone chorus, standalone message within it. But yep.
Jack asks, what anime do we watch? For my end, very little. I've watched some Full Metal Alchemist and some what was the one, the Kentai
Collection. Kantai Collection.
Contact Collection, whatever that was. The one where it was the girls that were Navy ships.
Yeah, I did watch that, by the way. I think I did.
Yeah.
No, I watched one of
the concept just blew me away because I like was watching it and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. So I watched the whole season in like 2 days.
You were sick in bed, that's why.
Yes, that's true. Yes. Kentai Collection. Yes. Kanko. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I binged that because I was sick and and it really was engaging. I was like, whoa, this is very weird and cool at the same time. So
yeah. It's cool. Cells at work? No. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I try not to watch too much stuff. But on occasion I do. And I find that if, a lot of times I don't know what an anime is going to be. You don't know what the whole story is going to be before you watch it. That's the whole point of watching it. But you also don't know, is it going to be worth watching? Because I like something that has meaning in it. Something that makes me at the end of it be like, that made me think about something, that I gained something from, wisdom, or even if it's not wisdom within the show itself, it makes me think about stuff and solve issues that, could help me out in the future or whatever, or just change the way I think, something productive within the show itself. And you never know if you're going to get that out of an anime or not. But I like the ones that I do. I like the ones when I watch it and it develops me as a human being, not just the characters within the show. But yeah, if I do watch something, it's generally anime and not a movie. And that's because anime has better character development because you spend more time with the characters. You spend several episodes rather than just like 2 hours total. You spend multiple hours total. But then, and you can also watch it at your own pace, because if you don't have time to watch a whole movie, but you have 20 minutes to spare, you can watch an anime, one episode. So Ruby, yeah, I've watched season 1 of Ruby, but I never watched anything past that. But anyways, so what kind? I don't know. I like a wide variety when it comes to that. Comedy, romance, action, peaceful, slice of life, whatever. All of it's good.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I remember from the Kantai collection, one of the things they kept talking about was, "I'm gonna do my best." That was one of the things I took away from it. Like they were always all about doing their best. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna do my best. I was like, that's very that started to sink in. It's like, you know what, even if you don't go, big, huge, whatever, are you doing your best? And in fact, there's a Saint Therese of Lisieux, who,
I like how you pronounce that.
She committed herself. She was like, you know what, early in her life, she wanted to do huge, big, amazingly huge global things, right? And she discovered that she was more fulfilled doing small things in an excellent way.
Fair enough.
And that was her thing. She's like, you know what? I'm going to do these things, I'm going to do these small things excellently. I'm going to do these the best that I can, and yeah, that was her whole philosophy, and it was tremendous. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we should probably call it a night, I suppose. It's already that time. Actually, we've been going now for 2 hours and, well, roughly that.
Yeah. So welcome everybody that is just showing up, and sorry that we're ending, but you can go back and watch it.
Thanks again for all of you who stuck around, and we appreciate all of your questions and concerns, or just random conversation. This was kind of like one of those streams that just kind of chilled and enjoyed. It was great. So
yeah, and I tell you, make sure if you have an issue or if you got something you want to talk about, Anna, we've got one. You're on the list, so you're one. We've got one from Anna. We've got one from Akil. We've got one from Maria Senpai. We've got, so
But yeah, you can post it on our website.
Post it on the website right here. This is the link right here. Boom, boom,
boom, bam, pow.
Click there, start a new topic, put your question in there.
Ahoy and boy. Ahoy.
Yes, we will be back on Wednesday. Well, I will not actually.
That is right.
We will have a substitute. I am taking some family vacation time next week, so.
So yeah, this coming Wednesday, we're not going to have CDVNL with us, but we will have a special guest.
Yes.
And I think that's the same for Friday as well. We'll have a different special guest on Friday. So next week, it's going to be no CDVNL, but we're going to have 2 other people, one for each day. It will not be Jesse, but you can find out who it is when it happens. If that gives you a reason to show up.
Hey, you know what? None of us could ever replace any of us.
No, yeah, we're not replacing anybody here.
Yeah.
And eventually we would like to have a show. Actually, maybe we should do a show. When we add more shows, maybe we'll add a show where we do more of like an interview style or guest style. Because we talked about doing that before. I think that would be an interesting thing. Instead of doing another Don't Worry Wednesday another day, we could do a Don't Worry Wednesday, but have it a different style where we invite guests and see what they have to say about things.
Absolutely. And we've got some great folks here that absolutely could come and chat with us,
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out how to do that, because you guys are amazing.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for all your support and just being you. Being a part of what we're doing here.
And always go and be the best you.
Absolutely.
Be the best you can be. And do it. Do it now.
Do it right now. Bam.
Or maybe go to bed and sleep and then do it.
That's part of being the best then. Say you have to go to sleep.
Yes, that helps to sleep.
All right.
Well, you guys are awesome. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.